We've got a channel review coming right up. And welcome to another channel review. If you want to find out how to get one of these reviews for yourself, make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video. I'll tell you towards the end how you can get one of these for yourself. So what am I doing here? I have been contacted by a YouTuber who requested a channel review. And so I'm going to be spending the next 45 to 60 minutes giving an in-depth review of their channel. I'm going to be finding action items, making recommendations, giving them specific things they can do to grow their channel right away. Now, you might wonder, why am I watching this if this isn't my channel? A lot of the things I'm going to be talking about today are going to apply to a lot of people. I consistently see a lot of similar missed opportunities and maybe even mistakes out there amongst a bunch of small YouTubers, so you could find this very useful for your channel, even if this isn't your channel. So stay tuned, and let's just dive right into it. Before I begin, though, one thing I want to mention is my YouTube might look a little bit different from yours for a couple of reasons. One, I do have YouTube Premium. You'll see that in the top corner there. And so that just means that I've paid not to see ads, but that doesn't mean that creators don't get revenue from my watches and my views. They do. That's just a nice little thing if you're not wanting to put up with ads. And so that's one reason mine might look a little bit different. Another reason is I do operate in dark mode. It's a little easier on my eyes, I find, and actually it saves power when you're on those mobile devices, tablets, laptops, your phone, whatever. So because the screen doesn't have to brighten as much. And I also have TUBEBUDDY, the browser extension, installed, and I have a legend level plan. It's a vital tool that I use for my channels and for doing channel reviews and helping other YouTubers grow as well. There's a link in the description if you want to go get TubeBuddy. The browser plugin itself is free, and there of course are paid plans where you can get more functions, but even the free version is hugely useful, and I highly recommend it. So with that all said, I think the stage is set, as it were, for our channel review, so let's start the clock and dive right in. I like to begin by searching the channel name, because one thing that YouTubers I find often sort of forget about is their channel description and how their channel appears in search. So what I want to give you is an outsider's perspective on what I see as I encounter searching for your channel. So let's do that here. Our channel name today is Harrison Sawyer. And so one first thing I just want to say, I don't believe that is the actual person's name. And so generally speaking, a piece of advice I give is to not use your full name on the internet. If you become an overnight sensation, people are going to want to pretend to be you. And so there's identity theft concerns and impersonation concerns. As well, you could have rabid fans who might not understand appropriate boundaries. And so we've heard the odd horror story of famous YouTubers having people show up at their homes, and nobody wants that. So I maintain that something called security by obscurity is a good thing. My real name is very difficult to find on the internet, and so I hope it's the same for you as well, so you can kind of protect yourself. I'm fairly confident that this is not this person's name, so hopefully that doesn't apply to Harrison here. However, if it does, might be something to think about. So let's take a look here. I'm going to start with the profile picture. So the profile picture is doing a couple things here. Pretty cool if you ask me. First off, the profile picture on YouTube, as you can see, becomes a circle. And I'm thinking this is a baseball channel because he's turned that circle into an actual baseball. I think that's great. It's also got the person there, the cartoon character with the TB hat. I'm thinking Tampa Bay. He's got the sort of baseball jersey on, says Tampa Bay. Now, I can see it on desktop. I'm using Firefox as my browser, if you're curious. I can see and read Tampa Bay at this resolution. When that gets smaller, that might be a little harder to read. However, the fact that the icon is a baseball, I think, will be consistently coming through. So I think that's a solid thing. I think that if he was to change the profile picture at all, keep that baseball motif, I think it's a smart move. And so he's obviously got a glove. Now, it's interesting because the glove is gray, which matches the hat, but you know, when I think baseball glove, I think of a brown glove. So turning the glove brown could shift the color tone of the image, but it might make it even more readily transparent to your potential audience that you are about baseball. Now, why would we care about that? A part of it is because people are lazy. And let's not consider that an insult. People are lazy could also mean people are efficient. People have a limited amount of time for everything that they do, including consuming entertainment and educational media. And so if you can't capture them right away, they're just going to move on to the thing that's easier. And so you might notice that that's going to be a theme throughout this and my live streams as well, is let's make things easy on our audience. They will appreciate it and potentially reward us, with their eyeballs and their time, and maybe even their interactions. So anyways, I think the profile picture is pretty solid. There's some shadow on the from the chin going across the neck. And so I feel like that might be taking away from a little bit of it. I think if the shadow kind of outlined the jawline a little bit, rather than that just sort of a strip there, if I'm correctly identifying what I'm looking at, I think that might be a slight improvement. But by and large, I would say this is a very good profile picture. It's vibrant and it gets its message across. For a profile picture, you have very few pixels to do a lot of things. And that includes letting people know what you're about and hopefully enticing them to click. And so, clarity of your messaging is an important part. And I think this has that in spades. So let's take a look at this channel description. I have been a sports fan since 2010. Now I'm going to stop right there. The thing is, that's 11 years of being a sports fan. But depending on the demographics you're targeting, that might be a little bit off-putting. I've been a sports fan for much longer than that. I've been watching hockey since the 90s, although not so much lately. I, cut the cord on cable, but that's a whole other thing. And so while some people might consider that, oh, wow, that's a lot of time and experience, other people might actually have the opposite reaction. And so I think right out of the gate, you're doing some things good here. You're saying, I'm a sports fan. And so the clarity of getting directly to that point is good. However, by putting in that year there, I think that you're taking a risk right out of the gate, gambling that the demographic you're targeting is going to find that to be a positive or care at all. So I'm not sure that at the very, very beginning is the place to include that. I'm thinking if you want to put that maybe in your second paragraph of your channel description, then that might make a little bit more sense, because people might see the first couple lines when they don't know who you are, but they're probably not going to look at the rest of your channel description until they already have formed an opinion about you. Oh, I've liked a lot of these guys' videos. I'm going to take a look at his about screen and learn more about him. And so in the second paragraph and beyond of your channel description is when you can start thinking about you're speaking more towards a fan base. But in that first paragraph, you were talking to total strangers. It's sort of like your elevator pitch. The idea of an elevator pitch is if you were on an elevator with a famous rich person and you wanted them to tweet about you or invest in you or collab with you, and you've only got the time it takes to get from your floor to their floor to hook them, basically, then you might have 30, 45, 60, 90 seconds to make a pitch to try and entice them. It's like the shortest Dragon's Den or Shark Tank pitch you've ever seen. And so your beginning of your channel description needs to be a little bit like that. So let's go back and continue reading. So I've been a sports fan since 2010 when I went to my first baseball game. Ever since then, I've fallen in love with. So that's getting into some personal story and background, which is good, but what I'm not necessarily fully getting in this is the value to me. Because as an audience person, I'm lazy, but I'm also selfish. What do I get out of this? I mean, maybe I'll identify with you. And so I'm reading this and I'm thinking back to the first hockey game I ever attended with my Uncle Vic. We went to the Vancouver Canucks and the Winnipeg Jets, and the Winnipeg Jets won 5-3. And I was a big Jets fan at the time. So that was a great memory for me. I look back on that very fondly. And so that evokes that sort of a feeling with me. So that's something, and knowing that it's a sports fan. So maybe just take the time part out of it. I've been a sports fan for years, since my very first baseball game when I fell in love with the sport. But then, as quickly as you can, maybe even quicker than I'm suggesting, pivot to what the value is. What is someone going to get out of watching your channel? Are they going to learn themselves how to play baseball better? Are they going to learn the ins and outs of the different stats? What does RBI stand for? Runs batted in. What exactly is that? Are they going to learn about the sport? Are they going to see highlights? I suspect not, because you probably wouldn't have the rights to use that footage. Is it going to be analysis? Is it going to be predictions? Are you going to help people with sports betting and help them make better bets or something? I don't know. And that's part of the problem. So I know you're all about baseball and you're a big fan, but I don't necessarily know what you're going to be delivering. I have a sense of what you bring to the table, and that's important. But I also want to know the nuts and bolts of what I'm going to get out of this. I mean, for all I know, this could be a sketch comedy channel that revolves completely around baseball. And that'd be kind of cool, actually, because that's the thing I might be into. Just looking at some numbers here, you've got 9,350 plus subscribers. That is a substantial number. So well done there. That's fantastic. And that's based on 286 videos. So you've also put out a decent back catalog of content. So that's that on its own is a number to respect. When you use TubeBuddy, which I mentioned earlier, you get these milestone indicators around views, subscribers, and uploads. And honestly, it's uploads are the ones that I really respect, because that's the thing that the creator is in full control over. We don't fully control the views of the subscribers. We can influence it, but we don't fully control it like we do uploads. 286, very respectable number. My hat's off to you. My hat is so off it's in another room. So looks like you're doing very well. And I'm looking at my Search Explorer here. This is part of the TubeBuddy browser plugin extension. And so the name Harrison Sawyer, it ranks a good. The search volume is actually poor, but there's virtually no competition. So in terms of a channel name, that's pretty good. Some common video tags that are related to this search include MLB The Show Stadium Creator, MLB The Show 21. So if I'm not mistaken, that is a video game. So perhaps you do video games around baseball, I'm not sure. And so it is kind of interesting, though, because the video game aspect of it does not come through either in your profile picture or in the beginning of your description. So just something to think about. You want to grab people right away because their attention spans are short. And again, that's not a bad thing. That's people being smart and efficient with their time. So let's respect it and make it easy for our audience. And I think they'll like us for it, like I said before. All right, let's dive into the channel here. I'm just going to pause this, the channel trailer here. Okay, so we've got a banner here, and there's good and bad things about this banner. One thing that I think is good is there is a relatively consistent color scheme. We've got this blue, your sort of gray with the flesh tone, and there's sort of the yellow, and so I kind of like the color scheme. I think that's good. That having been said, this image is incredibly busy, which isn't necessarily bad. However, what I think the challenge is part of it is the text. There's quite a bit of text for a banner, and the text is like a type of blue against a different blue. You've tried to make it pop a little bit with some drop shadows, but the font on some of it's pretty small. So let's just go through here, MLB The Show and weekly baseball recaps. That's good. That's solid. That tells me what you're all about. So I would consider making the text of that perhaps a little bigger. Therefore, it would stand out a bit more and a bit easier to read. Also, I'm not sure that the drop shadow on its own is getting the job done. The drop shadow has a couple of elements. You've got a white and a black. What I would suggest possibly doing is looking at maybe an outline or sort of like a drop shadow that looks a little bit more diffused, so that it's not so sharp contrast. Because one thing I'm noticing, looking at like the W here in the banner, is you get kind of some jaggedy lines. They look like vector drawings as a result, and that's not super pleasing to the eye. And that's a scalability thing. And so if rather than having just a straight up basically a mirror image as a drop shadow, if you have something a little bit diffuse, then it might pop a little bit more organically, be a little bit easier to read. I also see here it says daily videos at noon EST. So a couple things about this. One, I do not personally believe in having a public upload schedule. I actually think it does more harm than good. I know that that's not the popular opinion, but here's my reasoning. If I know, and this is a series that doesn't, have new episodes anymore, but I used to watch James and Mike Mondays on Cinemassacre, a channel with over 3 million subscribers. And I knew if it was Monday, there was a new James and Mike Monday. It's in the name. And so you know what I didn't need to do? I didn't need to have notifications on to watch that show. And so on Mondays, I might just go watch it. Some days I'd remember, some days I wouldn't. And if I didn't, then the next Monday I might have 2 episodes to watch, and that was nice. But when people know your upload schedule, it actually provides them a disincentive to subscribe with notifications on and set to all. So if there is a little unpredictability about it, that's not the worst thing. And so they have to subscribe with notifications on. And so that's a choice you can make for yourself. But that's my personal recommendation is you can have an upload schedule that you rigorously adhere to. Don't make it public. People can notice it, but don't make it in your banner. Don't give it that high level of real estate, because I don't know that people care that much at that point. I'm looking at your banner. I don't yet know if I want to watch your channel, so why would I care if the uploads are coming daily or at a particular time? So I think that's just some thoughts there. In fact, on this channel, I do live streams, but because my life is kind of hectic, I run 2 channels, large Facebook groups, got a day job, all sorts of stuff. I never know exactly when I'll have time to do a live stream. And so that unpredictability I actually use as a selling point. And I tell people, if you want a free 30-minute channel review during a live stream, you gotta subscribe with notifications on to find out and join us when it happens, because I can't tell you. I don't know when the next one will happen. Alternatively, you could follow us on Twitter or the Facebook page, whatever, get notifications that way. But you see how that kind of encourages the growth of people with notifications on, Twitter followers, Facebook page likes, things like that. So that's just something to think about strategically. Now, one thing that I do like is that you have, you mention a time, and you also mention a time zone. And so that is kind of cool, because when a lot of YouTubers out there say, oh, daily uploads at 3 p.m., I'm like, yeah, you know what? The internet goes around the whole world, right? Like all different time zones. You know, there's more than 24 time zones. Some of them are like half hour off, which is like crazy making for me. But so I like the fact that you respect, that you acknowledge this. And also I think because, you know, it's a sports channel, sports fans are commonly used to seeing EST next to a time, because they know whether it's Eastern or Pacific or perhaps even Mountain or Central, depending on, you know, the region and, you know, the channel you're watching or what have you. And so it does, having that time zone thing there does kind of evoke memories of watching sports broadcasts. But all in all, I would say daily videos at noon EST, just remove it. That's my advice. Bring down the MLB The Show and daily baseball recaps maybe a little bit. Make it a little bit bigger. I think that would be good. And so you've got your name here, and it's sort of at your back, which is kind of cool, somewhat large. It's good to have the branding in your name in there. I don't think that's a bad thing. It is, however, of course, the largest thing here. And so is this about baseball or is this about you? Now, you might think that it's about you talking about baseball, but the fact is, if people don't know you yet, putting your name super prominently doesn't necessarily entice people to continue on watching. So I would consider making it a little smaller on the name and make the content premise of MLB The Show and weekly baseball recaps larger and easier to read. Maybe even make them of equivalent size. I don't know. But I think what you've got here is pretty good. So let's continue down here. I noticed that you have channel membership, so that's kind of cool. Curious what kind of perks you offer there. And so here you have your, what's serving as your channel trailer. Now this is itself not an actual channel trailer, because this is a game vlog, I can see from the title. And so I strongly recommend that you make a channel trailer. Now a channel trailer, ideally speaking, would run between 30 and 90 seconds, and it can, what an easy way of doing it that I recommend is just sort of sit and think for a moment about the coolest things that have ever sort of happened on your channel. Maybe, you know, amazing moments or, you know, things that you're really proud of for whatever reason. And grab like a notepad or something. And hey, look at this. This is my Vacation Impossible, you know, with the YouTube thing on their notepad. So you can always consider making merch for your channel if you're looking for another way to advertise it. Grab a notepad and just think to yourself off the top of your head, what are like the 6 coolest things I've ever done on my channel? Well, that video got a lot of views, and that joke was really funny, and that thing that I caught on film was amazing. I can't believe we were able to film that. And then just create what's known as a sizzle reel. You can just do quick, rough cuts between these, you know, half dozen or more clips. And then, once you've done that, you've got a choice to make about the audio. There's a couple of ways you can go. You can just leave the original audio. So that's one thing to consider. Or you could just have some music playing through it. And if you don't have a good source of music, I recommend Epidemic Sound. I'll have a link in the description. You can get your first month free. And if you want to be really sneaky about it, what you should do is, especially if you're doing a daily upload thing, as I see you do on this channel or other channels watching, if you're going to do like a Vlogtober thing where I'm going to vlog every day for 30 days, get the free month, because every upload you do during your free month, you own the rights to those videos forever. And that would also be the ideal time to do a channel trailer. So you can use Epidemic Sound and sound effects, like music and sound effects, in your channel trailer and in like those 29 other videos or whatever, however many, depending on the month you choose. And then you'd have the rights to that forever, and it doesn't even cost you a penny. So if you want to be like really sneaky and strategic about how to use your free month with Epidemic, might be a thought. Another way to go, and this is what I've done on my Vacation Impossible channel, is for the sound, I did a voiceover where I wrote a little script explaining what my channel was about. I explained the why of what I believe, so that anyone else who also believes it, Simon Sinek always says, start with why, and I think that's a good piece of advice. There'll be a link in the description to this book on Amazon for both the US and the UK. But Simon Sinek says that, when you explain why you do things, if you make like statements about your values, if other people have the same values, they form a strong emotional bond, and that's why people do things like get Harley-Davidson tattoos. These are people who get tattoos of companies on their body. Why is that? That's because they believe in a why of the open road and of freedom and things that Harley-Davidson stands for, strength and independence, and things like that. And probably also because I imagine they make a very good product. But you'll notice that kind of comes second to the lifestyle and sort of the values. So, if you can say something like that, on Vacation Impossible, my travel channel, I say, travel is good, more travel is better, we'll show you how to do it cheaply, and a little different and smarter. Something like that. And then I say, like, we'll help save you money, and you can watch these adventures, and you can see these hidden gems and things like that. And so feel free to go to Vacation Impossible. Give that channel trailer a watch. It might inspire you to make your own. Don't copy it verbatim, please. But if it inspires an idea in you, that's great. And speaking of ideas, all the ideas I'm giving during this channel review are, of course, free to use, but I also don't have any expectation. I'm not, because I said it, you must do it. There's nothing like that. But if you want to use any of these ideas, you have my formal permission. You can refer to this video as my permission to use the ideas that I'm suggesting, whether you are Harrison Sawyer or a different channel, and this inspires you similarly, feel free. I grant you permission. So with that in mind, you can do, like I said, the original audio, a voiceover, or using music, or you can do a mix of them. If there's there's some sound you captured that was amazing, you might have that come up for a moment. You could have some music playing while you're doing your voiceover, whatever works for you. But the idea is it's supposed to be a commercial for your channel, basically. And so 30 to 90 seconds is generally the longest you want to go unless you have a really established channel with a lot of different shows. Like, for example, Pat Contry, Pat the NES Punk, you can go check out his channel trailer. His is on the longer side, but he's explaining, Pat the NES Punk and the CU Podcast and Ask Frank and Flea Market Madness. So he's got established and successful shows that he's explaining the premise of. So for him, a longer channel makes sense, and he's got a lot of footage that comes up during it that's kind of fun to watch. So those are two different approaches to channel trailers, but I do strongly recommend a formal channel trailer. Now, absent that, having one of your videos up as serving as a channel trailer is a good idea. But I think an actual formal channel trailer looks more professional, and it has the chance to hook people, I think, faster. So let's go back to looking at the channel here. So this is the Tampa Bay Rays versus the Seattle Mariners, game vlog number 1. I'm wondering, do you have multiple vlogs on specific games? That's interesting. And is it that you go to the games, or do you just sort of like vlog 1 is your prediction and like vlog 2 is the reaction? I don't know, or something else. I'm not sure. I'm curious about that. And so one thing I'm also curious about is game vlog as a keyword. Now I'm just clicking on my TubeBuddy browser extension here. I'm going to go to Keyword Explorer, because I'm curious at the SEO merit of game vlog. Let's take a look. How good a search term is this? Now, when you're using TubeBuddy for this kind of thing, watch out for the weighted and unweighted tabs. Weighted means for your channel, and unweighted means for some generic channel. So this is on the lower side here. It scores a 22, known as a fair. So the search volume is fair. Competition poor means there's quite a bit of competition for it. And so this means that the number of videos that have game vlog in the title or description, otherwise, SEO, whatever components, 49.6 million. That game vlog, that's how much your competition is. That is huge. And the number of searches on this term is only 3,400, which is not actually a huge amount. So let's see if we can do a little bit better. Let's try baseball vlog. Narrow it down a little bit, and we'll see what comes up. we're getting a little better here. Look at this. We went from a 22 to a 56. This now scores a good. The search volume here is actually excellent. And the competition is still hovering around the same area. It's actually a little bit better, so there's a little less competition. And so the number of videos you're competing with now is, I mean, it's going to sound crazy, only 6.73 million. But that's a whole lot better than it was. Now, let's consider one more variant here before going back to the channel. Baseball game vlog. What happens then? We're going for the long tail keywords. Generally speaking, longer keywords have less competition, and for smaller channels, it allows us to be more competitive. So our scores dropped a tiny bit here, down from 56 to 55, and things haven't changed hugely. So I'm thinking, what this moment of SEO research, and this hasn't been very much time that I've invested here, but I'm suggesting rather than game vlog, maybe baseball vlog or baseball game vlog might do a little bit better for you. Now, one thing that I notice here is you do have your title reproduced in the description. Points for you. That is part of what I consider to be what I call keyword alignment. If you can say the words, "Welcome to my baseball vlog," and have it captioned, which that can be a lot of work. And let me just take a look here to see if you tend to caption your videos. I'm not seeing any marked as being captioned. And so what I would recommend you do on the caption front is go and find the short videos like this 1 minute here, 1 minute, 1 second video, and work your way up from the shorter to the longer, as you know, as much as you can stomach doing, because captioning is hard and tedious work. But the trick that I use is, rather than starting from scratch, is wait for YouTube to auto caption. Now, I don't know what triggers YouTube to create the auto captions, but once they're there, then you can just edit them. So instead of typing every single word that came out of your mouth out, all you have to do is correct where YouTube got it wrong. So, you know, if, let me think of an example here. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like a word that could be misheard easily. But okay, here's one. I'm going to cover the plays of the game, right? Instead of plays, P-L-A-Y-S, it might hear place, like location, P-L-A-C-E. And so if you go in and you see that it says place, and it thinks that you're talking about the location where games happen, which is not necessarily what the video is about, and you're talking about the actual plays that happened, the running, hitting errors, whatever, and you correct it from place to plays, you increase the accuracy of your SEO and of YouTube's ability to know what your video is actually about. And one of our big goals with sort of gaming the algorithm, if you want to think of it that way, or just being a good partner of the algorithm, is you want to increase its confidence that it knows what you're about. And so by having accurate captions, that's one of the many, many ways you do that. So let's get back to keyword alignment. Maybe you've said, okay, welcome to my plays of the game. You say that in words. You caption it out. You put it in the title, the description, and the tags. And then hopefully people will also use those words in the comments, and you use those words in replying to the comments. And then you've got this maximum alignment where the word appears everywhere, or the phrase, the keyword, whatever it might be. And so then the confidence of the algorithm goes way through the roof. Well, this is definitely about plays of the game. 100%. He said it, he captioned it, he titled it, description, tags, comments, all those places, every single place you possibly could, the keyword appears, and so you'll do better on SEO for that keyword. And so that's what I call keyword alignment. So as much as you can do that, the better. Now let's see the description. Tampa Bay Rays versus Seattle Mariners game blog. Plate Crate, August unboxing and giveaway. I'm guessing Plate Crate is like Loot Crate, but for baseball, because the baseball plate, that's my guess. However, at first glance, I thought it might be a meal delivery service, or like where they send you the ingredients and you make the food yourself and you put it on a plate. So I don't know. And so that's just something to think about. Like you say, check out Plate Crate. And so maybe where you say check out Plate Crate, instead you could say Plate Crate for great baseball memorabilia or whatever, or a Plate Crate, for your game day snacks, maybe. And that way it also improves sort of the SEO of what that is. Use my link for $10 off your monthly subscription. Make sure you watch the ad for a giveaway. Okay, so that's pretty good. And so it looks like you've got either a sponsorship or at the very least an affiliate arrangement there. So you're getting some revenue sources rocking there. That's fantastic. I just want to go up to your social links for a second here. I see you've got a subscribe link, which loops basically back to your channel, but will have the subscribe pop-up. So you formatted that well. I'm not sure that that has maximum value here. For one reason, it's immediately above the much larger subscribe button. So Something to think about. You've also got another link here, Harrison Sawyer Football. So there's another channel that you're supporting. That's fine. You've got your Twitter linked here. Looks correct. You've got Twitch, which further makes me think that there's the video game component. And you've got a link to, what is this? A Discord server, which I'm not sure you've set up correctly, because it's just showing this world, this globe, this blue planet. And when that icon shows up in your social links, that means that it's not correctly identifying the platform that it's on, or it's linking to a website that doesn't have a favicon file. So let's just quickly jump over to your About so I can see how you've set this up. Discord server. That's interesting. What I think you're going to want to do, and this is probably going to seem a little silly, but I think what the problem is you don't have the triple W in front of Discord. That's my guess. Because you got HTTPS, ://, or it could be the .gg extension. So you might want to consider putting the triple W in there, see if that fixes the icon. And if it doesn't, maybe find another link that you can use that has a more traditional domain, and then it will maybe pick that up, and then that planet will actually turn into the Discord icon. And then people will be more likely to click it. Now, as for your various icons that you've got up here, you've got subscribing to the current channel, Twitter, Twitch, Discord, and your other YouTube channels. So let me ask you this. Which of those is most important to you? I like to use the metaphor of the funnel. So let's say we've got a funnel here, because this is my prop, and whenever you need a prop, if you have one, if you're talking about something and you can show, not tell, way better. So you've got a whole bunch of different social media things up here, and maybe one or two at the bottom. And so at the bottom of the funnel, maybe this is where your content is, or where you make the most money, or just the thing you care the most about. And so you want to drive people down the funnel to where it matters most for you. So let's assume that maybe your other YouTube channel matters most to you, let's just say. And everything else is to funnel to that. So you might want to have, this is where your Twitch and your Twitter and other things, Facebook, maybe if you're on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, this might all be up here. But where you really want people to go is maybe to your 2 YouTube channels. And so that's something to consider. Just for a moment, visualize your funnel. Where do you find new audience members, and where do you want them to end up? Okay? And so when you keep that in mind, then when you face a question like, what link do I put first in my video description or on my social links on my YouTube banner, then I think the thing at the bottom of the funnel should come first, because that's where you want them to land. So if this channel is where you want them to land, you might want to consider keeping the subscribe up, or you could just say, okay, that's number 1. What's number 2? Number 2 is Twitch. Maybe you're trying to make Twitch affiliate or something. You might want to put Twitch at the very front instead of the other stuff, because the subscribe thing, it's a little redundant. But if you want to keep it, that's fine too. It's just a thought. But having 2 buttons that do almost the exact same thing right next to each other might not be the best use of space. While I'm here on your channel description, let's just see here. On this channel, I post videos such as MLB The Show Stadium Creator time lapses. More about game, Madden 22, a lot of other sports gameplay. I also have a second channel where you can watch highlights, sports news, clips, and other sports content. It's good that you put that on a separate channel, because if that gets copyright hit, this channel will remain, hopefully, so long as your account doesn't fully get shut down if they're on the same account. So something to consider, be aware of. You put a lot of effort into this. I can see you've got a big subscriber base. You don't want a copyright issue to take the whole kit and caboodle down. That would suck, and I don't want to see that happen. Okay, so you've got for business inquiries, please email me here, but you've also got business inquiries down here. I'm not a robot. I just want to see if it's the same email. And it looks like it is. So my recommendation is actually take this out. This part right here. Oh, no, I'm highlighting too much. There we go. For business inquiries, for one thing, again, it's redundant. It's down here in the details. More importantly, the one down here you saw, I clicked on and I had to prove I wasn't a robot. So, like, different things that will go out and collect email addresses off the internet, little spiders that go and collect emails, they will collect it from the description because this is text and easy to capture. It will not pull it from here. So if you want to control how much spam is ending up in this email inbox, as you grow, you're going to have a signal to noise problem. The signal is what you want. These are going to be offers from companies you want to work with, or other channels you might want to collaborate with, or important notifications you care about. And then there's the noise, which is, hey, check out my Fiverr. I can get you views and totally break YouTube terms of service in the process and stuff like that. So if you're finding that that's an issue, or even if you're not, maybe preventatively, I would recommend taking out the email from here. And that's interesting. I will only accept certain products to promote that I feel will help my viewers. I love that. I love that. That is integrity right there. So that's cool. All right. So, yeah. Also, former Fortnite YouTuber decided to change my content to sports. Again, I would say just put former Fortnite YouTuber in parentheses and don't necessarily mention this, because again, now I'm seeing like, okay, you've been at this for less than a year, which, I mean, hey, impressive subscriber count for that. How much of it was from the Fortnite stuff, I don't know. And also, if you haven't been at it for very long, I might feel, I don't know, misled or betrayed if I was sensitive to that sort of thing, because I see channels created 2019. So like, what's going on there might look shady to somebody who doesn't bother to actually learn about you. And also that, like, it's funny, like I see restaurants and it was like, I saw a restaurant the other day, it was like open since 2019 or something. And I'm like, that's not a hugely impressive number. Like, I know, like, what is it, 80% of restaurants fail in their first year? That number only matters to other restaurants. If I'm going to a place and I see, like, oh, they've only been around for a couple of years, and that's what they're boasting about? Like, why aren't they boasting about having the best steak in town or the greatest vegan options or something? Like, why are they, why is the fact that they haven't been around very long what they're mentioning? So I'm not saying that's necessarily what you're doing, and I do apologize if any of my criticism comes off as harsh, but if I'm just here saying, you're lovely, that doesn't help you very much. And so, if anything does come across as a little sharp-tongued, a little salty, I apologize. But I'm trying to be helpful, and so feel free to, take it with a grain of salt. But yeah, so that's just something I was thinking. Is I would cut this part out here. And I like that you talk about will help my viewers. What I would love to see is another paragraph in here somewhere, maybe like after the business inquiries. Because you could actually leave for business inquiries, please email me. Just take the actual address itself out. Anyone worth their salt knows to click down here. Anyone who doesn't know how to do that is not worth your time, because they're not professional and they're probably just trying to scam you. So take the email out, but then maybe after that, but before mentioning the former Fortnite YouTuber, is talk a little bit about the why. Why do you put this effort in? You contacted me to get this channel review, and so that costs something. It's not free, and it takes your time, and you've been very patient, because normally I do these within 3 days, but you contacted me right before a vacation, so it's taking longer than usual. But like, why? Why are you putting up with this? Why are you putting up with me taking so long to do this? Why did you contact me? Why do you care? What impact do you want to have on other people's lives? What does it boil down to? And if you're thinking, and I'm not saying you are, but for anyone watching who says, "Oh, I want to make money," or "I want to be famous," or "I want to reach people," or "I want more views or subscribers," you haven't gotten to your why yet. And that's why things like Simon Sinek's book or his TED Talk is really worth listening to. The why is so important. Like, if you think about computers, whether it's Apple or Microsoft, a big part of their why is about empowering the little guy. How someone in their home with a computer can compete against giant corporations. That's sort of a Microsoft thing. The Apple thing is about, put a dent in the universe and things like that. So those whys, empowering the little guy, putting a dent in the universe, it has nothing to do with computers. On the surface, the why should actually be absent of what you do. So let's think about this a little bit more. One of the whys that I love is if you look for Facebook on Twitter. This sounds weird, right? But the official Facebook account on Twitter, the official Twitter account of Facebook, it basically says connecting people across the world. It could be about social media. It could be a phone company. It could be the post office. But it says what they care about. If you see what Facebook, they're running ads these days on television about Facebook groups. And if you haven't already checked us out, check out facebook.com/groups/small YouTubers boost. I got to get the plug in there for our Facebook group. But groups are all about people, connecting across the world and helping each other and growing and learning and commiserating and celebrating together and all of those things. And that's a wonderful feeling. And so you can do that on a message board. You can do that on Twitter. You can do that in other spaces. But say, I think because Facebook puts that as their focus, I think that it kind of resonates with people, and sometimes on a subconscious level that you might not even be aware of. And so why? Do you want to share your love of the game, give other people something to enjoy during difficult times? Do you want to help them understand baseball if they're new to the sport as a fan and they don't want to look stupid amongst their friends? If they're frustrated playing a video game and you want to help them do better, what is it? What's the value? And like, forget the numbers. If you forget all the numbers, but you think, okay, that was worth it, or that was a good day. Like, where does that come from in terms of your YouTube channel? So, for example, on my travel channel, someone might comment and say, "Oh my God, this video about the cheapest way to get from the airport to the cruise terminal saved me like $60. Thank you. I was able to take that $60 and go on a horseback riding excursion." Although those are normally more than $60, but you get the idea. I read that and like that makes my day. That's not just me saying something nice. Like, sincerely, that is a big part of why I do it. Wow, I saved them some money and I let them I helped some total stranger on the internet have an amazing adventure that they wouldn't have had otherwise. And that is why I do it. I started my travel channel because I wanted to convince my friends and family to travel with me. I wanted to see the world and they were not that interested. And so I was out to convince them. And that's where it started. And now it's so much bigger because I'm showing other people, like people who I love going on cruises. And so people say like, I didn't think cruises were fun, but this looks awesome. I'm going to give it a try. Wow. I've broadened their horizons and have kind of helped in some small way give them an amazing experience. So what is it that you want? What's sort of your wow moment? What would be the comment that would make you say, wow, this is all worth it? Forgetting the numbers, forgetting the money, forgetting the time. Why is behind all this? And then if you can find a way to say that in a sentence or a paragraph, somewhere a little bit later in your about screen, that's where someone will come and maybe they're thinking about getting your membership and thinking about joining. So they read your about and then maybe they see this amazing thing where it's like, baseball brought me and my family closer together and I want other people to be able to have those relationships. Or, baseball has been an amazing inspiration for me to become physically fit when I was facing a health challenge. Or it helped, I met my wife at a baseball game or whatever it might be. And you want other people to have these benefits. Just say it somewhere late in the description, not right away, because it's a little deep, a little heavy, maybe to get right into it right away. But that can really help people form those emotional bonds. And then you can get what's known as a true fan. And a true fan is not just a subscriber. A true fan is someone who will basically watch everything you do and buy everything you sell. They will subscribe with notifications set to all. They will join your channel membership. They'll follow you on Twitter, on Twitch. They'll follow and subscribe on Twitch. They will do all those things. And so the true fan theory is that if you have 1,000 people like that, and you manage to put out $100 worth of product every year, you don't have to work again a day in your life. Because each one of them will generate, if you can put out products that generate you $100 every year, and 1,000 people go for it, then that's $100,000, and you can live comfortably on that almost anywhere in the world. So that's just something. And how do you get there? How do you get those true fans? It has to be meaningful. It can't just be, surface level. It needs to be a bit more than that to get to that true fan level. And so having that why well articulated is part of how you do that. So let's see here. What else do we have going on? We've got uploads, archived live streams, Stadium Creator, baseball news and commentary, recaps. So this is good. You've got a lot of playlists. Creator Sims, however, I notice only has 4 videos. I don't think this is quite ready for prime time yet. As well, I noticed that 3 of the videos are 4 months old and 1 is 2 months old. For a daily channel, that tells me this isn't a particularly high priority for you, and that's fine. So I would recommend that maybe this playlist isn't quite ready yet. I would probably remove that. And what I would replace it with, because it's not here, is your popular uploads. And so this is a playlist that you can go into your settings. I've got a video here on the channel that shows you how. And you can go in and you can add the popular uploads. And it's a one-time set it and forget it thing. And it will automatically show the most viewed videos on your channel. And as other videos get more views, it automatically resorts itself without you having to do anything. And it's nice because, again, let's say that somebody comes here and they're looking at your channel and they're trying to describe, do I want to subscribe? Do I want to join, get a membership or whatever? One thing that I do as part of my process, I don't know how common it is, but I will find the popular uploads. And so I could go into videos and then I could click sort by and then go popular. But again, remember, people are lazy. Let's make it easy for them. Let's put it on the homepage. And so they can see, wow, you got 2.9 million views, 1.1 million. Or more likely, if they're not a YouTuber themselves, they'll just be like, Oh, perfect timing in this, this, what is that, a dancing game? That's pretty weird. It's a little off-brand, but whatever. Best moments of Houston Astros getting booed. Like, somebody might think that's awesome. That could be very funny, especially if, you're a fan of a rival team. So, okay, like, they might want to click on that and get engaged, and they could see, like, okay, see, this is the stuff that this person's kind of known for. So that's interesting. And so, like, let's go back to the homepage. And so, like, there's a lot of stuff here to look at. But your best performing videos, I'm not really seeing, particularly like that Astros one. And so if you had your popular videos playlist here, then it would be, it could be at the bottom. You can put it at the top, whatever you think is most effective. But it gives people another opportunity to click. And also, by having only things that go all the way across on desktop, it looks like the channel's just a tiny bit more professional, a little bit more well laid out. So, I mean, in terms of making a positive impression on a potential audience, I think that looks a little bit more professional. One thing I think is good is that, like, your capitalization, your grammar, punctuation, all looks really solid. That looks professional. Having some closed captioning. Another thing about closed captioning that I didn't mention before is, why is closed captioning important other than SEO? Because it is more than just SEO. It is also helpful for people who are hearing impaired. There's no reason hearing impaired people can't enjoy a video game or baseball. Also, it could be that people are in a place where they would like to watch a video, but they can't with sound on. Before the days of COVID, they could have been waiting in an airport. And maybe they didn't have their earbuds, but they've got their phone. And so they could watch with subtitles on if, they have any sense of manners whatsoever. It's a pet peeve of mine, people who have, like, do FaceTime or watch videos with the sound on and they don't have earbuds on in a crowded place. Like, people do it at the table of a fine dining restaurant, and I just want to slap them. I don't, because I don't want to go to jail. But I think that might be the only thing stopping me. Because I hate it so much. But I pray, there's a majority of people who actually have manners about this sort of thing. And so for me, if I'm in that situation, I don't have earbuds, AirPods, whatever, then I'll be like, oh, it's got captioning, I'll just watch with the captions on. And so in my experience, captioning a video increases its views between 8 and 11%. Now, that's just personally with my channels. I don't know if it'll be better or worse for yours. No guarantee. Your mileage may vary. However, especially for some of the shorter videos, I mean, it's interesting how the view counts are kind of all over the place for your channel. And don't let people give you crap for that, by the way, because the subscriber to view ratio is not a thing. Views get you subscribers. Subscribers do not get you views in the current iteration of the YouTube platform. Those notifications are broken at the best of times. And so if anyone gives you flack for that, don't let them. Tell them Ray said no. That probably won't mean anything to them. But what I'm noticing here for some of the inconsistent stuff is, like, for example, this, you've got 204 views sandwiched between a 1K and a 1.2K. And so, even just like, this is a shorter video. It's 3 minutes, 13 seconds. So if you were to go in and caption that video, if that increased your views by 8 to 11%, out of, 204, that can kind of be a greater impact. So that's something to think about. Wholesome baseball interview. Now, it would be great to hear what's being said, but absent that, if I'm not able to, being able to read it and just look at their facial expressions and kind of put it together in my head, that might not be so bad. And so I think that, when it gets to be like 8, 10, 15 minutes, captioning can be a chore. I get it. But even just doing it on some of the lower viewed, or not the lower viewed, but the shorter ones, because I'm noticing that your shorter videos tend to get fewer views. And that could be about anticipated watch time, which it's what I call king metric of all on YouTube. So if you're getting a lot of watch time, then YouTube thinks, hey, people I send there will watch for a long time. I'll send more people there. So if you want to get up on recommended, having your video be a little longer and having your audience retention be a little longer, that can be a really big thing to help with recommended. That's hard to do. There is an opportunities function with TubeBuddy where it can help you with that retention a little bit. But one of the ways that you can also try and sort of combat that is like, okay, my shorter videos might have a disadvantage in anticipated watch time. So I'm going to counteract that by captioning them. And maybe that'll help level things out a little bit and just help those underperforming shorter videos do a little bit better. Okay, you remember earlier I was talking about the possibility of a drop shadow on your text that's a little fuzzy, I know you know how to do that, because under Dirty Cheaters here, this drop shadow on this Dodgers player here, number 27, I'm not a baseball fan, I'm a hockey guy. I'm Canadian. What can you do? Tragically Canadian. But like that kind of a drop shadow might look fantastic. In fact, that kind of a drop shadow, not just for the text, but for your animated character, could really help things pop. And the thing about that is, whether you're using Photoshop or something else, it normally gives you pretty good control that you can get it to just what feels just right. Not that it's like screaming at it, jumping out, and it's not like a thick black line, but it's subtle so that it just shows enough. And I know you know how to do that because you did it over here very well. So some interesting things here about your thumbnails. Your thumbnails are really good. They're pretty on point. There's a few things that I would recommend. One thing that I would point out, and again, this is a little technical thing, but the more people know these technical things, then we can start competing on like our hustle and our ideas and our talents and charm and things like that, rather than technical things. So I try to get everyone to know the technical things, and then we can have a fair fight on YouTube. So the time code. In the bottom right-hand corner of each thumbnail is a time code, and so you don't want to have vital information there. So for this playoffs here, it's covering up what I think is a question mark. So at first glance with the time code there, I think, oh, it's just something about the playoffs. Playoffs question mark, if I was able to see the question mark, then I see you're probably talking about, could they make the playoffs? Or how did they make the playoffs? Not just like, oh, there are playoffs and here's some highlights or something. Could be a little different. And so most of your thumbnails do good at avoiding that bottom right problem. But basically the bottom right, like 10 to 20% of your image isn't really yours because there's the time code. And so like Dirty Cheaters here, I love this thumbnail. This is a fantastic freaking thumbnail. I think it's great. There's very little I would do different. I might tweak the vibrance ever so slightly, but other than that, it looks great. But like, is Franco coming? I'm guessing that's up, but I'm not sure. Every team cheats. That's interesting. If it was possible to switch that image so that the text was on the left, that might work a little better. There was one that I noticed that was, like 2011 to 2021. I assume that's what that is, but it's that bottom right-hand corner. So that's just the one thing that I would suggest watching out for. Your font and your color schemes are reasonably consistent. Tesla field. Interesting. And so one thing I'm also noticing is that you do have playlists, which is great. Quick reminder, in case you're not, but hopefully, and I think you are, every video needs to be in a playlist. And I noticed that you have a description for each playlist, which is good. A lot of YouTubers forget to do that. And so one thing that I will give you credit for is you have an upload schedule. It's publicly posted daily videos, and it looks like you're adhering to it. 25 minutes ago, 1 day ago, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, 4 days ago. That's 4 days ago, but that could just be for time zones. 4, 5, 6 a week. So it looks like you really are doing daily, and so impressive, I have to say. I went daily on my travel channel for a 30-day stretch when they announced the change to monetization that required the watch time and the subscriber count of 1,000, the watch time of 4,000 hours. And it was a slog. It was hard to do, so I do really respect that hustle. Take a quick look at the Channelytics here. This is part of TubeBuddy. Looking at your tags here. They look pretty good. And so one thing you can do is you can use that keyword explorer thing that I talked about to look at some of your channel tags. But remember, we had baseball vlog come up with a reasonably good SEO. So you might want to consider adding baseball vlog in there somewhere. That might actually help a little bit. And I think you've got room here where you don't have to sub anything out for it. Videos. So 37 videos in the last 30 days. So as an average, slightly more than once per day. And so it looks like, again, you've got that thing there about the noon EST. I'm thinking the timing is probably not super consistent on that. You had 5 uploads on one day here, and that's a little dicey. And so what I would consider doing is spreading the uploads out so that you can have 1 per day. And if what you're doing isn't necessarily time-based, if it's not about like tomorrow's game or yesterday's game, if it's something about like a video game or something where you can release it kind of any time, maybe keep those in reserve for if you get sick or if you just don't feel like it today. And so then you can maybe have this line be a little bit more straight and consistent. that might be one thing that could help sort of normalize things as well. Because if you put out 5 videos in a 24-hour period, those videos are kind of competing against each other with your audience. And so you're kind of cannibalizing your own audience and not giving all of those videos a fair chance to perform on their own merit. So I recommend no more than 1 upload per day. Let's take a quick... Oh, wait, a community tab. I want to see how you're using your community tab. That's kind of a disturbing image. Okay, so it looks like you're sharing... should I do a fish sexy character simulation? I don't know what that means. Okay. So it's interesting. Like, you're getting some pretty good engagement here. You're getting some comments, 18 likes, 40 likes, 26 likes. So it looks like you're actually doing fairly well with your community tab and using it effectively, which is great. So that's cool. I think other YouTubers might kind of learn from that. Kind of see what you're doing there. Let's actually, we're going to dive into this video for a second. I just want to take a look at a couple things. You've marked it as includes paid promotion, so that's cool and very responsible of you. Oh, and so you are on TikTok, but you don't have TikTok in your banner, I noticed. So if that's something that's important to you, you might want to consider adding it. Join this channel to get access to perks. I wonder if there's a shorter version of that join that at least has your channel name. I don't know. I don't have a membership thing myself. I haven't set that up yet, so I'm not sure exactly what it lets you do. This Twitter thing, you should probably consider making that a link. That way people can click on it. Right now, you're hoping that they'll highlight it, copy it, paste it, search you, whatever. That's a lot of work. People are lazy. Let's be friendly with them. I noticed that you've got hashtag ad, which is fine. I would recommend adding a couple other hashtags, something that is ranking well. Now, the ranking here just shows for me, but yeah, you could have hashtag Tampa Bay Rays, hashtag Seattle Mariners. That might be enough. I think that would be good. Because also, if somebody comes to this on desktop and they see that it says hashtag ad at the very top there, they're going to be like, wait a minute, I clicked on a commercial? I clicked on an ad? That's not what I wanted. They could click away, and that could tank your retention and watch time. So if you have other things I understand why ad is there. You're trying to be transparent about the fact that there's some sponsorship or something going on here, and that's good. But don't make people think that's all this is about. I'm sure it's more than that. It's 8 minutes and 53 seconds. I'm sure you're doing more than talking about a product. You're going to be talking about this game. So that's something to consider as well. Let's see for the checklist. TubeBuddy says you don't have info cards, but this has been a little glitchy lately, so you might still have them. No chapters, though. I think chapters are a good thing to add. They're easy, and chapters do more than just give you a little check mark in the algorithm. They help people navigate your video, so rather than clicking off, they might just click ahead, so it kind of gets you more watch time that way. But also, what I do is I put on my videos, I'll put the time codes, I'll put the title of the video again, but when you are forced to label the chapters, you're identifying more about what your video is about, and those words actually help you in SEO. Because if you have a pre-game discussion and maybe a post-game analysis or something like that, and in here it doesn't say any of those, but if you added chapters and one says pre-game analysis, then when someone's searching for pre-game analysis, this video could come up. It certainly wouldn't beforehand if it's nowhere in text. So that's just something to consider. So you got a good SEO score here. You're using sort of that to the max. You've got some likes on Facebook, so it's good that you're sharing it there. Let's see. Have you shared this on Twitter? You got a Twitter account, so I'm thinking you may. I'm guessing not. That looks like no. So at the very least, tweet when your video comes out. And it looks like it has not been shared on Reddit. So maybe find a place on Reddit where you can share these things. If you are not comfortable on Reddit, and the thing is, Reddit can be an amazing source of views, so it's worth considering. I understand that Reddit can be intimidating for some people. So we at Small YouTubers Boost have created our own subreddit, Small YouTubers Boost, where people can go and play in our sandbox and not get in trouble. So if you want to go and see, that's how the link will appear, and that's what the different posts are like, and here's how upvoting works. Maybe you can even go get some karma, who knows? And so feel free to go to our subreddit and practice sharing and things like that, and then go out and possibly find friendly subreddits that allow you to share this kind of content, and you might find a whole new audience that way. Could be really substantial, actually. I know people who get 10, 14, 25% of their audience or more from Reddit, depending on their content and friendly subreddits. So, for example, what if I take your title here and just do a search? I'm not sure if this will work. We'll take a shot. So let's find someone else. Let's find something else here that's got a... Okay, here we go. 240 views on this channel. Let's wait for this to load. Okay, I don't think this has been shared on Reddit either. Interesting. But what I'm trying to show as a process is if you can go and find someone in your niche, oops, pause, that is sharing in a subreddit, then that subreddit, in all likelihood, is a friendly one that you could also share to. But one thing this is telling me here is that other baseball channels are not taking advantage of Reddit, which would seem to me to suggest that there's an opportunity here where you can have a competitive advantage. A competitive advantage is where you have an advantage that other people lack. And that's how you take down the big guys. You take a slightly different tack, a slightly different approach, you find a different audience somewhere else. That's interesting. These things are not being shared very much on Reddit or Twitter. So if you are the only one dominating that space, well then I guess then you could,
hey guys,
find an audience, maybe even build a community, if that's something you're interested in. So yeah, this is pretty good. I think this channel has a lot of potential. Let's see kind of on a broader view how it's been doing. I'm just going to hop over to Social Blade very quickly here, just to kind of see your Social Blade stats and see what's what. Okay, B+, which is pretty solid. A negative view count here, so that might mean that you took a video down, or some views were audited found to be inauthentic, or maybe there's a copyright claim or something. Don't read too much into that, but those are some of the things that can mean. So let's see, what kind of growth have you been experiencing here? So for video views, your best month was September of 2020, which is interesting. 750,000 views, and it's interesting because I think that's before you changed your content over. But it seems like you're on an upswing here in August, so that's good. Subscriber growth, yeah, 2,000 subscribers. So September of 2020 must have been a pretty amazing month for you, but I think that's when you were doing a different kind of content. But it might be worth considering, what was I doing back then? Where was I sharing things? What kind of content was I putting out? What kind of calls to action did I have in my videos? And if you can kind of recapture some of that, then you might be able to recapture some of the corresponding growth, even if it's possible that your genre has shifted. So that's just something to consider. But it seems like you're doing fairly well overall. So there you have it. That is sort of the channel review. Hopefully giving you some good action items and things to consider there. I've given you some very specific thoughts about your channel description, your banner layout, your channel layout, playlists, things like that. So hopefully you found this useful. And for anyone watching, if you did find this useful, please give this video a little like if you want to see more channel reviews like this one. If you want your own channel review, you can get a free 30-minute review during a live stream. However, I don't know when those will happen. It's kind of dictated by the opportunities of my personal life. So for that, you'll want to subscribe with notifications turned on and set to all. Join us early in a live stream because we go first come, first serve. The sooner you get into chat in a live stream, ask for the channel review right away. You'll have the best chance of getting that free 30-minute one. If you would like a more in-depth one like this, then you can reach out to me. You can message me through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever works for you. And so it is a paid option. So what you would get is a 45 to 60-minute review, not unlike this one, where I give you specific action items and things that you can try if you want. As well, the video that I put up will have a link to your channel in the info card, end screen, and description. So you might get a little exposure by being up on this channel as well. But really, it's more about those tips. And what's nice about also having this as its own dedicated video is if Harrison Sawyer wants to come back in a year and see how things have changed, or, watch it again and be like, oh, I forgot to do that, or, oh, right, I needed to do the Reddit thing, or whatever, then it can be useful that way, just to kind of get a reminder of how you've grown as sort of like a little signpost in your channel growth, and also might give you a little bit of traffic. You can go back and rewatch it as many times as you need to review these tips and all of that. So if that's something you're interested in, it is a paid option, but it's fairly inexpensive. I don't like quoting dollar amounts because if you watch this in 3 years, it might be different depending on how busy I am. But right now, I'm basically charging the cost of 2 meals at a fast food restaurant. So 2 combos will get you a channel review. And we accept payment through PayPal. So if that's something you're interested in, feel free to reach out. And yeah, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do so for those live streams, but also the tip videos. We've got tutorials on this channel that show you how to use TubeBuddy. I've got a trilogy of videos that tell you all about SEO, that's search engine optimization, something we talked about throughout today's channel review. But I go piece by piece, how to write a title, how to write a description, and how to write tags with SEO in mind. I give you specific examples and walk you through that process. Also, if you're anything like me, every now and then it's hard to feel motivated as a YouTuber. It's hard to get out of bed, make the time to do this, take that next step. So I've got a video about motivation for YouTubers that talks all about that and a strategy that I use to take that next step so that I'm constantly continuing on in my YouTube journey. So thank you so much for watching this channel review. We look forward to seeing you in the next live stream and the next video. Thanks for watching.